Hello, YouTube. I just caught myself in time. I was just about to launch into a massive explanation of what I'm doing here, and I hadn't pressed record, so it would have meant I had to do it all over again. That would have been bad, wouldn't it? Is someone shouting for me? No, they're shouting at each other. That's good. That's better than shouting for me. So we're playing Microscope tonight. Me and Chunkynut. Say hello.
Hello.
See, there he is on the other end.
I'm playing with Scoundrel.
That's right. That's right. If we're going to constantly. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you slip up and say my name.
Yeah.
It's already out there. People know. What was I saying? We're playing Microscope, and the idea is you create a history of some period in time. So you normally start with an event that kicks off the timeline, and then you think up an event that's the bookend of the timeline, and you fill in all the details in between. But you're always building on top of what you've put in before. You're never taking anything out. You're never destroying anything or retconning anything. It's always everything that's in is in, and you have to work around it. So I think probably the best thing to do is just to start, really, isn't it? Should we talk about palette?
Yes.
Actually,
we should start with the overview, though.
The overview, which we have already done.
Yes.
Now, the idea this time round is that we're going to be talking about the history of a generation ship that's going off to colonize a new world. So we haven't really thought about any more of the details around that, whether it's from Earth or another planet or anything like that. But before we actually go and get into the meat of deciding exactly what happened on this epic journey, we need to start thinking about our palette, which is a list of yeses and nos as to what can fit into the game. On the no list, things are a hard no. Once that's on the no list, no, it can't go in. Nobody can use that idea. Nobody can touch it. No one can hint on it, suggest it. It's gone. We've had previous classics in prior games, such as agriculture. That was fun. Stars, slightly more difficult to deal with. That one proved to be a little bit physics busting, but we got there in the end. By a roundabout manner. Good evening, Ostap. Welcome to the chat. Actually, Ostap, this is not technically an off-schedule stream. It's a shifted schedule stream, because I'm not going to stream tomorrow night. I'm doing this instead. Also, just not that this is important for anybody watching on YouTube, because it's going to be cut out, but we're going to be playing till about 8 o'clock. Then Chunky's going to take off for a little while. I'm going to do some Blender, and then he's going to come back, and we're going to resume the game. So we should probably get cracking, really. It is nearly 8:30 already. 7:30, rather. Anyway, so we need the palette. Yeses aren't hard like nos are. They're more suggestions, things you'd like to see in the game. But, that's a nice little handy reference to have when you want to put things in. So, without waiting around too much, what are we going to put on the palette there? What do you reckon, Chunky? What's your first suggestion?
I was going to go with a yes, and I was going to go with factions. Factions,
always a good thing to have on the yes column.
Yeah.
Very difficult to do if someone puts it on the no column, because then, of course, you're completely reliant on homogenous societies and hive minds, which
monolithic.
Not so exciting, are they? No one likes a monolithic hive mind, especially when they turn up to parties. Oh my god! I've met a few of them. So you've put factions on the yes list. What am I going to put on the palette? I'm already struggling. So many ideas, but none that make sense. That's the problem. I have a weird thing that whenever I try and think about something, the word monkey just repeatedly goes on in my head, like monkey, 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 monkey. And I try to insert it into film titles for no good goddamn reason. So I'm going to put monkeys on the no list. It's a bit of an odd one. I mean, sure. But when I put monkeys on the no list, I mean monkeys have existed, but there are no more monkeys. Planet of the Apes, off the table. So there we go. That was just not my finest addition to the palette, but it's something, isn't it? So your turn again, Chunky. Unless, of course, do we turn to chat for some suggestions? Is anybody in chat got a burning urge to suggest something that they would like to see or would not like to see? Also, as we're only two people, we do need a spokesperson from chat, perhaps, to work as the... is filter the right word? I don't know. The arbiter? Yeah, the spokesperson. I suppose spokesperson itself was a perfectly good word, perfectly cromulent. Would have done anyway. No chunky monkeys, no monkey nuts. Well, you can't put two things on the no column, but I get the implication. Go on, Chunky. You take another pop at it. I'll sit here and have a little ponder.
I was going to go with uplifted species.
On the yes column?
On the yes column.
On the yes column. So we're looking at uplifted species. That's good. So you're talking about species where an alien race has come to them with a higher level of technology and awareness and raised them up to their level. Or maybe just below.
A-level.
A-level. Raise them up to a higher notch. Just one bracket higher. We're not going to give you the big guns. That's probably a bad idea. We've seen what happens when we give very, very, very low-tech societies very, very, very high-tech weapons. It just goes terribly wrong.
So that could be dolphins or, some other sort of analogue of that.
Uplifted dolphins. I mean, I love the idea of like fighter craft piloted by dolphins, just like a little capsule of water in the thing and a tube going out their blowhole. And I'm also imagining a dolphin wearing one of those classic flight helmets, like from Top Gun, with the flip down visor thing on top, or even one of those TIE fighter masks. The pilots of the TIE fighters have that black variant on the Stormtrooper mask. I think dolphins would look good in that. You'd need to cut a hole in the front for the nose to stick through, but
we could just have it as elongated, sort of.
I suppose, you could actually modify the helmet. if you're making helmets for your dolphins that pilot your starships, of course you're going to make them the thing that you're not just going to go, we've got this big stack of old. We've got a load of old helmets from that other ship we had. Should we just, pop a hole in the front? It's supposed to be a spacesuit, isn't it? Oh, he's got a tube in his blowhole. No problem. Sorry, I just chuckled at my own joke into the microphone and spiked the levels. How rude of me. R.I.P. headphones users, or more accurately, with this view account user. So on the, I'm going to put what would I like to see rather than a no column. I would like to see in the yes column non-planet bound species, so life that exists in the void, in nebulae, even in stars. So living things that are not necessarily beholden to a physical location, a world or something. Well, it's got to be a physical location, obviously, otherwise they're existing outside of space, and then that's just madness. That way Cthulhu lies. Space slugs, space slugs, space whales, which of course were on the no list in the last game we played. Yeah. They were, in fact, the first thing put down. Monkeys, I think, follows in that tradition.
Yeah.
Actually, it wasn't space whales they banned, was it? It was sky whales. So just a little bit of extra altitude, and it would have been fine. No problem. Ostap's got a question here. So these historical time periods, as far as I understand, are mostly to be comprised of fictional civilizations and events. Yes, totally, entirely. No point bringing in real world stuff. I don't know enough about it. Frankly, my idea of history is...
It would be an alternate history. You wouldn't just create periods of...
Unless, of course, everybody playing is an actual historian with a real axe to grind about getting their subject in the limelight. Maybe they are just one by one recounting real life events, which I suppose could be interesting, but it's not very gamey. Sorry, you were saying something there, Chunky.
Well, you could do an alternate history. You wouldn't have to do. So you could do where. The normal one, which is Nazis, actually won.
That's the normal one.
That's the normal one. That's the one that
that's
does. My
go-to. If I could imagine another world, another time, what would I have happen there? Well, first of all, the Nazis would have to have won. not the ideal, not the ideal phrasing, but yeah, sure, I get your idea.
Yeah. So we need another no, don't we?
We do. We can put as many yeses in as we want. We could have a completely freewheeling no-nos. We've already got monkeys. What more do we need to ban? I've already gone pretty mad.
So I'm going to go with no faster than light travel, because that on this at the point of blast off.
Oh, okay.
Because then that would mean that a generational ship is
pointless. Well, not necessarily. Depends how far you're going, I suppose. If you're on a generation ship,
the galaxy.
Yeah. I mean, even if you're going at light speed, it can take a while.
That blast off.
So no FTL at blast off. I need to get this list up on the screen, don't I? Because frankly, everybody's looking at a black screen. Shall I? If I do this, anybody watching? Oh God! Anybody watching in a dark room has just been blinded by the white. Blinded by the white. Here's the palette. Oh, it's not showing on the screen.
If you go to the 3 dashes at the top left.
The 3 dashes at the top left. Yeah, I've got it here, but it's not showing up on screen. You know what?
All right.
I think this is busted. Yep, it's busted. Back to the black screen. Maybe I'll have to make some handwritten notes or something. I'll have to open up Krita after all. Oh my goodness. Such madness. Bear with me, everybody. Anyway, sorry, you were putting on the yes palette, we have factions, uplifted species, and non-planet bound species. So void creatures. Oh, that's why. I've got 2 microscope windows open. Ah, hang on a minute. Haha, I fixed it. Haha, lovely. Let's get rid of my bar at the top there so nobody has to see that. Oh, I suppose it doesn't matter. You can see my links that are open. What the hell? What do I care? I've closed all the pornography. So on the no list, we have monkeys and FTL at Blastoff. So that makes sense. That makes sense. So it's my turn now. Unless we have any suggestions from chat, do feel free to pop them in. Ostap says he's related to historians to know about some details in certain periods, and besides, using our knowledge of reality as a basis for the concept in the yes and no list is mostly inevitable, theoretically. That is correct, although quite difficult to read out. Well, I mean, we could say, I could just put something, no, entirely fictional things in the no column, so then we have to take a little pinch of reality, but I don't think I'll do that. In the no column, I think what I should do, though, is really put this lower down in the mix so we can see... Oh, that's not what I wanted. There we go, here I am. Oh dear. So, I'm now covering everything up, so that's a complete waste of effort. Well done, me. There we go. What do I want to put in there? Is there anything I don't like? I always put steampunk in the no column, but I'm going to leave that hanging out there. I'm going to say, don't worry, steampunk is still on the table if you insist on inserting that thing.
Yeah.
Thinking about the setting, space. What are the things about space stuff that I don't like? You know what? I could drive us down a Dune kind of angle by putting AI on the no list. No general AI or no artificial life. Although I do like that kind of thing. It's nice to have robots and AIs and stuff in a bit of sci-fi.
Yeah.
You know what? I would like to see, in the yes column, bioengineering, like a prominence of a move away from the mechanical and the electronic to biological systems. So maybe the ship isn't entirely biological, but perhaps there's like webs of nerve endings drawn through all the walls and stuff, and or perhaps it's fungal or something like that. So I would like to see a move away. Move towards biological technology. Biopunk. That's right, Osmosis Jones. That would be a very good phrase. It probably already exists. Would David Cronenberg's work would probably fall into that in some cases. There was that one he had about the virtual reality game with Jude Law. What was it called? Existenz.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Plugging himself into a big old throbbing pile of muck. It was it was disgusting, but not as good as old Videodrome, of course. That's a classic. That's a genuine classic. No singularity, since it implies timelessness. No Are you talking no technological singularity, like the uploading, the old Kurzweil plan for the future? Is that what we're talking? Because we can put that in.
More of a wormhole style singularity.
Oh yeah, it could be. It could, of course, be that. Yeah, wormhole, black hole. Is a black hole a singularity? It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a one-dimensional object pulling in all directions. How does a one-dimensional object? Is it even one-dimensional?
Well, it could be, yeah, because it could be a pinprick. I don't know what the. I don't know enough about black holes, if I'm honest.
I think I think we're heading into realms of geometry that we just don't have a chance of grasping, so it's probably best to backpedal a bit and think, okay, softer science. The black hole singularities he was talking about. Okay,
cool. Okay, so we weren't that far off then.
No no astronomical singularities. Okay, so
okay. Let's add that in.
Let's put that one in then. So no wormhole gates, no black hole generators, no black hole sun. Oh no! Oh no! Wash the rain away.
Yeah.
Although technically it's evaporating it, which always makes me just get a little bit annoyed for a second at the song. But I'll let it slide for the purposes of artistry. Won't you come and evaporate the rain? It even scans. That's all I'm saying. It would fit in the song if you just used the right words. You don't have to get crazy. You could, it's science. Anyway, enough of this. Let's not get diverted.
It was pretty high when he did that.
Probably, more than likely. Apparently, Osmosis Jones is buffering like a mad cunt, which is a lovely phrase. It's a lovely phrase. What a wonderful term.
I'm going to go with no on artificial gravity.
No artificial gravity. Ooh, it never even came up to me. That's nice. I like that. When the palette is, I think it's intended to be like something that you can say, I don't like this or I don't like that kind of thing. But I think it's much better used coming up with things like this and not saying I don't like this, I don't want to see it, but saying, wouldn't it be interesting if this wasn't a thing? Because that's what really, the no column really drives the shape of the game from the very beginning. Because the previous two games we've played, I don't think the yes column was tickled a bit, but we were fisting the fucking no column, absolutely loving it all the time. That was a bad metaphor. My son's in the bath next door. I should probably tone it down a bit. So it's my turn now, isn't it? Chat's got one. So we've got no artificial gravity. I would. Okay, I would like to put humanoid alien species in the no column. So it's no Star Trek. We're not going out there and finding Vulcans and Klingons and all the other manner of weird bipedal, mono-headed, binocular creatures. Not that they're all binocular. I'm pretty sure there were some one-eyed aliens in Star Trek. Would they have needed a one-eyed alien with all the just the raw sex Kirk was exuding? I mean, you don't need that kind of phallic metaphor.
Should we say Star Trek-esque humanoid alien species? Because you could have a humanoid, as in 4 limbs.
Oh yeah, go on then. Well, I mean,
I know what you mean. It's not human-like, rather than. Yeah,
well, yeah. It's got to deviate from the basic human template in some way, like being a centauroid, a quadruped, or a hexapod.
Okay.
It has to. You can't. I mean, it's got to divert enough from the human template. If it fits in the box of a Vitruvian man, I ain't interested. I'm starting a war right now, even if it does have 4 arms and 4 legs. I suppose technically we all do have 4 arms, and well, sadly not all of us do have 4 arms and 4 legs. Some of us are bereft of such appendages. Oh dear, it's got dark all of a sudden, didn't it? I thought having someone else here with me would keep me away from the dark place, but I don't think that's going to be the case, is it? Oh dear. None of the people watching have any reference to the tabletop games that have been played and the awful things that have happened. Sometimes I lay awake at night and I just think, imagine if just the act of playing these games creates another universe where everything you're doing happens and is true. I am an abomination. I am the worst kind of creator deity that could possibly exist. I'm not even like malevolent. I'm just capriciously open to the malevolence of others. It's disastrous. God doesn't hate you. God just doesn't care. Anyway, where were we? Whose go is it? I put humanoid alien species on. Did you just put something on?
I'd have to think about it. Let's go with. I would like to have like I'm thinking like a cavernous sort of ship. I don't.
Well, you know what? I know we're getting ahead of ourselves here already and coming to things that should be coming after the palette, but I have a thing about enormous carved asteroid ships. Like, I've always liked the idea of a ship that's like a massive statue carved from an enormous monolithic piece of stone, which is like a city-sized ship inside it. And they just build the thrusters on the outside, or, you know, in this case, maybe just seed it with the biological tools to move, like a giant turtle shell or something. Not a literal turtle. Space turtles leave me cold, but space squids. Cephalopod much? Oh, yes. Yes, I do. Well, I don't. I'm actually terrified of things with no bones, which is ironic, because I'm fascinated by them as well. Sorry, carry on.
So do we want to go? I'm trying to think of how I describe this. A megastructure isn't probably the
I would say Titanic ships. Oh, I don't know. Titanic's somewhat lost its sheen as a... I got an advert. I've disabled targeted advertising on YouTube, and I get some weird stuff sent through. The other day, I watched an advert for a guy who was rebuilding the Titanic. His thing is he's going to make a complete 100% one-to-one scale copy of the Titanic and sail it. But obviously they're going to put iceberg detection equipment on board this time round. And he wasn't asking for investors. He wasn't selling tickets. It was just a guy saying about this project that he'd started. And that's the kind of ads I get. They are mental. I get one for this weird, I think it's like Kenyan or something comedy channel. They just play these skits with the ridiculous sound clips over the top. It's incredible. It's incredible. I'll have to look up the name of the channel and promote them just so you can go and have a look at how mad it is. Anyway, so let's have a look. Hypothetically, God not caring about you sounds less malevolent than this deity actively expressing its loathing towards you. Yeah, it does. But, I mean, there's a special kind of horror in when you pray to God and say, please help me. And God turns up, looks at you and goes, nah. No, not even that. No words, just looks. Yeah. No eye contact. Walks off. Like, oh, I don't care. Just not interested. I think that's almost as bad. I mean, in fact, at least you've got something to rail against if God is actually tormenting you. If you've been plunged into the bowels of hell and you're being tormented forever by under the command of God, that's something to be upset about. You've got something to hold on to there, a little bit of rage to drive you. But imagine the horror of just nobody giving a shit. Well, I say nobody. Somebody cares. Somebody always cares. I mean, they might hate you, but that's technically caring. It's the wrong kind, though. It's terrible. Anyway, where were we? I keep getting off on these tangents. So, yes to factions, uplifted species, non-planet-bound species, bioengineering, cavernous shipboard spaces. So you want enormous holes in your ships. Well,
yeah, I want like parks and farms and...
like the Presidium in Mass Effect.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So we're not allowed monkeys. FTL at the time of the blast-off of the journey, with no singularities in the form of black holes or their variants. No artificial gravity, which is a good one. I like that. It means they have to actually get... That's why the ships have to be so massive, because they need some gravity of their own. And then... Or spin them. Is that not technically artificial gravity?
No, it's not gravity.
That's true.
It's...
gravity light. Diet gravity. Yeah. It's the kind of gravity that won't actually make you fat or feel fat, because you can reduce it. What am I talking about? Well, no, there's just... I was struggling to come up with something, Osmosis Jones. That's the story. That's how monkeys ended up in the no column. I was desperately thinking, what are the space tropes I don't like? And I couldn't think of any I didn't like, but I did think of the film Planet of the Apes, and therefore thought, well, let's just whack that in the no column. So there you go. Just a little glimpse behind the curtain there. Okay, I've forgotten whose turn it is. It's mine or chat. So if anyone's got something in chat that they don't want to put in, or they want to have put in, feel free to voice your concerns or opinions. Maybe you have a concerned opinion. Maybe your opinion is that you're worried.
Worried about no monkeys.
They sit there going, well, how are they going to possibly string together a coherent narrative with no monkeys? I mean, all the greatest stories hinge on the monkeys. I mean, Shakespeare, riddled with simians, absolutely filled with tailed creatures. Oh, God, I'm desperately stalling. You know what? I'm thinking, I'm going to try and think one more thing, but I think maybe we've got the palette.
Mm.
It's got stuff on it. That's the key thing about it. You know, it doesn't have to be an encyclopedic list. I'm sure I've missed something though. There's some low hanging fruit that will just flip the entire game inside out before we've even started. What can I? Don't think of no's. Think of yeses too. Come on, what can I think of?
I've got another yes, but I'll wait for you.
Okay.
I've got a couple actually thinking about it.
No problem.
Where did you put all the school bags?
On the sofa.
No, the green ones and Lauren's current ones.
Okay, I'll come look for them. Hold on a sec. We're going to have to take a pause for a moment. Do you mind taking the reins for a sec, Ed?
Sure.
I'll be back in a moment. I'm just going to mute my microphone, turn my camera off. I've got to go and find school books. I'll be back in a sec.
Sure. I'm not as talkative as Matt, but I will try to continue. They are good starting points. We normally end up with about up to 10 in each of the yes and no column. And they do have quite a big impact on the rest of the game. I can't read that. He did say that, yes. He did say that Monkey keeps on coming up whenever he's watching movies and he wants to add them to the title. So that is the only reason he decided to exclude it. If anyone can come up with any other palette yes or no's, that would be interesting. It does have a fairly big impact. I could explain a little bit more about the game actually, which might help. There are 3 things that you do. You add periods, you add events, which sit or are nested within a period, and then you have scenes which are nested within events. Periods are probably decades to centuries long, or can be. Events are normally over a space of a few years, and scenes are specific a scene or moment in time, and you want to answer a question. That could be what happened to the monkeys.
Hello! What did happen to the monkeys? I think they made loads of money and then just couldn't be bothered to keep manufacturing their particular brand of synthetic pop.
Yeah, they had their own generational ship.
They did. They left this planet many moons ago, and they will soon be arriving at Alpha Centauri. Although, having said that, I think a few of them are. I'm pretty sure one of their mums invented Tipex. Mickey Dolan's? See, I'm a cultured man. I know the names of the monkeys. Well, one of them. So, what did I miss?
I briefly explained the periods, the events, and the scenes, and how they nest within each other.
Ah, okay. That's good. Get that out of the way early, otherwise I'm going to be sitting there explaining it for hours and hours and not getting anywhere.
I mean, actually, once we start doing it, it is fairly obvious what happens.
Yeah, you only need to do one turn, really, for everybody to have it fall into place. So, did anything extra go on the palette?
I didn't add anything while you were away.
Still might go. I am going to say... No extra solar system empires. All of the political entities, the maximum size any of them ever get to, is a solar system.
Okay.
There's no coherent imperial presence across multiple systems. And in fact, like planets... Oh dear. In fact, planets are even fairly rare, I'd say. So, multi-planet empires are fairly rare.
We'll go empires. Yeah, I was going to say states, but...
There we go. No multi-system empires. Okay. Phew! That's my one gone. What was the one you were holding on to?
I was going to go with yes to parasitic ships.
Oh, I like it.
So you can have there's like shuttles or maybe mining rigs or something, that they send out from the generation ship.
I would say do parasitic / symbiotic ships, because I think a shuttle would be like a symbiote, whereas something that attaches to the ship from the outside or infiltrates and drills through the outer shell would be a parasite.
I've heard it described as parasitic before in science fiction novels, but that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Well, I suppose
if they were within the ship, I suppose that would be parasitic.
The people on board the ship technically could be considered parasites, although if you create the ship in the first place, I feel that's fairly symbiotic. It's not like we're acting to the detriment. Unless you're giving it teeth, you're not doing that. Acting to the detriment of the ship, because it's vital to our survival. I'm already on the ship. I'm miles ahead in this history. I can't help myself.
Glorious leader, the scoundrel.
Yeah, sitting on the figurehead, arms out. Yeah. Duh. I was about to try and sing the song from Titanic, but having never seen Titanic, I don't even know what the song is. Yeah. I just know it's by Celine Dion. My heart will go on, isn't it? See, I know something about it. Why am I bragging about how much I know about the film Titanic, having not seen it? That is a very odd thing to be proud of. So,
do you have any more?
Do I have any more? I like what we've got.
The one from chat.
Oh, what have we got here?
Sentient ships.
Sentient ships. Yes, that's not a bad one. In fact, if we're gonna have sentient ships, I think we should say no to general AI, or no to no AI, no artificial life. So you can have droids and robots, but they're never awakened and aware. They're never fully thinking creatures. They're just following their programming kind of thing. I think that works, because then it ties in nicely with the bioship thing, that the ship can be conscious, but it's a biological. When I say artificial, I mean no digital life.
Yeah, no digital awakened.
No digital consciousness.
Yeah.
That works. So no super smart AIs. I mean, you can have like an AI system as you'd have today, like an expert system where you can say, "Oh, let's analyze these images or whatever," and have it spit out answers. But no, I can't think of any AIs. I can't think. There's so many AIs in sci-fi AI.
How?
How? No, HAL. Yeah, that's of course. How could I miss that one? I was thinking.
Is data classed as a AI?
Definitely.
Presumably is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, definitely. Oh god, I'm doing in memes now. Yeah, okay, sorry. I was sitting there thinking about data all of a sudden. I was just remembering that bit where they peel back his scalp and all the little LED lights are flashing on the outside of his grey plastic brain. I don't know why. I just lost in a moment of reverie. So did you say you had another yes?
Yeah, something to do with like not illicit substances but drugs.
Yes to sort of like enhancers and
enhancement drugs.
Buffs.
Yes to buffs.
yes to buffs. No to debuffs. Please no nerf.
So I think enhancement drugs is good.
Yeah.
That could be mood enhancing. I wouldn't say that's.
Well, I think anyone who's made happy feels enhanced, as long as that's it's not a terrible. I mean, if you're, rolling around in broken glass and going, "Oh, it's so great," that's a bad thing. You don't want a drug that makes you do that. That's I suppose enhancement really is very subjective.
It is, yeah.
I mean, no, I'm not going to go down there. I was about to go to a combination of the dark place and the pink place, which is possibly the worst combination ever. It's worse than the pink place and the brown place. Sorry, I recognise that you're not quite up on the memes, so this may be a bit confusing, but never mind. Osmosis also pointed out that Shodan, GLaDOS and Xerxes all are perfect examples of AIs that I could have reached for, but was unable to. And also, Ostap is saying maybe yes to environments influencing nervous system functionality. Okay, I think what you mean is like if you go to a planet or a place, it just changes the way your mind works, or you think, or how your nerves work, I suppose, which is technically how you think.
Could it be rooms on the or structures or rooms on the generation ship though? Could be that as well. Don't know.
Yeah, no, all right then. Okay, we'll say mind-altering environments. How about that? Does that sound good?
Sorry?
Does mind-altering environments in the yes column sound like a good way to phrase that?
Yeah.
And also, Osmosis Jones also pointing out planets with neurotoxic atmospheres, or asking for clarification there with a question mark.
Yeah.
So what do we...
I'll wait for a sec.
I think I've got one... It was my turn, wasn't it, before chat came up with something. I was saying about the monkeys, Ostap. It's not that monkeys have never existed. It's that there are now no monkeys. Which is interesting, because there's no mention of apes in the no column.
Yeah.
So...
Gorillas, fine.
Gorillas,
Orangutans,
they're still around. There's one gorilla left, and we've made him immortal, and he's very sad.
Harambe's. Harambe's like genetic stock.
That's the name of the ship, the Harambe. It's just a massive statue of a gorilla carved from a single asteroid with a constant blue flame pushing it forward from its bum. Ah, dear. F.
Cool.
Rip. So Woodstock is a mind-altering environment. I suppose it would have been back in the day. Literally, wasn't it just a day or two? It wasn't very long, was it?
No, it wasn't. No.
Certainly
Weekend, at
plants.
the very most.
Basically Marvin the android, but as a monkey. Oh, no. He's still a gorilla. He's not got a brain the size of a planet. It's just a very confused 20,000-year-old gorilla. If you think he's confused, think about that poor old last panda. Imagine that. They're just in a nick of time, just before all these great big megafauna all go extinct, they figure out how to make things immortal, and it's just like every single one of them, there's one left. They couldn't even do a fucking Noah. Alright, so, where were we next? Is it still me? I haven't come up with anything, have I? I'm not going to put pandas on the no list. That's unfair. I think... how far future are we talking, though? I mean...
Yeah, I had an idea about nanites. And
nanites?
I was wondering whether yes or no.
I like a good nanotech story. I'm partial to nanotechnology, and it plays very well with biotechnology as a thing. And we haven't, as has previously happened, put cybernetics in the no column. So I think there's a very nice little meshing between nanotechnology and biotechnology that goes together very well. This thing I'm doing with my hands is a little bit disgusting. I'm going to stop doing that. It's also doing no good for my wrist, which is still very RSI riddled.
I have probably got about a minute until I need to eat dinner.
Okay, well, what we'll do is we'll finish the palette. You go and eat your dinner, and I will start doing some blender, and then when you come back, we'll be able to resume. Or,
just as a suggestion, it doesn't have to happen, we can leave it the palette open, and if the chat have any good ideas when we start again, we could just add them in.
I'm happy for that. I mean, I'm still going to fiddle with blender, but we'll do that at the same time. So chat, if you guys want to continue the discussion, how long are you going to be roughly?
45 minutes to an hour, I think.
Okay, all right then. So if you want to continue thinking about the things that are in the yes and no columns of the palette, I will be ultimate arbiter. I will maintain power of veto over this, just in case it gets a little bit silly. Because I feel like we've got something nice here. This is a nice little list of things that's going to yield fruitful results. And if we start putting crazy stuff on, crazier than monkeys, it's going to go a bit south. But we'll see. Anyway, you enjoy your dinner, and
Will do.
I will return us to the darkness. Oh, that's not what we wanted. No, I've got it all wrong. Where is it? Come on, turn it off. You can do it. You can. There we go. Boom. Lovely. For now, we're going to put the old microscope on hold, and I'm going to go and do a little bit of blending, and while the chat has a chance to ruminate on the contents of the yes and no palette, maybe some new stuff will be added, and maybe not. And once you're back, we'll start.
Cool. How shall I mute it? Shall I?
If you want to just mute your microphone, feel free. I mean, you feel free to sit there making ASMR noises into your headset if you want, but
You can hear my chewing.
nom 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 nom. But it will certainly bring the viewers in. I mean, I'm not sure it's the direction I want to take the channel permanently.
No.
Yeah, you go.
I'll mute it for a while.
Yep. I'll see you in a bit.
All right. See you in a bit. Bye.
Hello, and those of you watching on YouTube, as Fuzzy has pointed out, I'm going to stop the recording. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back in a little while. Well, probably a day if this video gets published in my normal schedule. Bye, YouTube. Bye.